So, a 60-year-old millionaire got married with a 20-year-old model. When his friends asked him how he did it, he said, "I lied about my age." They then asked, "Ah, so you said you were 40?" He answered, "No, I said I was 90. So a fireman came home from work one day and excitedly told his wife, "You know, we have a great system at the fire station. When bell 1 rings, we all put on our jackets. When bell 2 rings, we slide down the pole. And when bell 3 rings, we're on the truck and ready to go." He grinned and added, "From now on, when I say bell 1, I want you to strip naked. When I say bell 2, jump into bed. And when I say bell 3, we're going to make love all night." The next evening, the fireman came home and yelled, "Bell 1." His wife immediately stripped off her clothes. "Bell 2," he shouted, and she jumped into bed. "Bell 3." They started making love. After a few minutes, his wife suddenly shouted, "Bell 4!" Confused, he asked, "What the heck is bell 4?" She replied, "Roll out more hose. You're nowhere near the fire." So an older man approached an attractive younger woman at the shopping mall. "Excuse me," he said. "I can't seem to find my wife. Would you mind talking to me for a couple of minutes?" Feeling sympathetic, the woman smiled and replied, "Of course, sir. Do you have any idea where she might be?" "I have no clue," the man said. "But every time I talk to a woman with breasts like yours, she magically appears out of nowhere." So a woman walks into the downtown welfare office, trailed by 15 kids. "Wow," the social worker exclaims. "Are they all yours?" "Yep, they're all mine," the tired mother sighs, clearly used to the question. She turns to her kids and says, "Sit down, Leroy." Immediately, all 15 children scramble to find seats. The social worker, now even more curious, says, "Okay, I guess you're here to sign up. I'll need all of your children's names." "Well, to keep it simple," the mother replies. "All the boys are named Leroy, and all the girls are named Leroy." The social worker, completely baffled, asks, "Wait, seriously? They're all named Leroy?" The mother nods. "Yep, it makes things a whole lot easier. When it's time to get them ready for school, I just yell, 'Leroy,' and they all jump out of bed. When it's time for dinner, I shout, 'Leroy,' and they all come running. And if one of them is about to run into the street, I just yell, 'Leroy,' and they all stop. Smart, right?" The social worker thinks about this for a moment, then asks, "But what if you need just one of them and not the whole group?" With a sly grin, the mother says, "Oh, that's easy. I call them by their last names." So George Phillips, an elderly man from Meridian, Mississippi, was heading up to bed when his wife noticed something. "George, you left the light on in the garden shed," she said, looking out the bedroom window. George went to turn it off, but when he opened the back door, he saw people inside the shed stealing his tools. He quickly called the police. "There's someone in my shed stealing things," he said. The dispatcher asked, "Are they inside your house?" "No," George replied. "They're in my garden shed." The dispatcher sighed. "I'm sorry, but all our patrols are busy right now. Just lock your doors, and an officer will come by when one is available." George said, "Okay," and hung up. After waiting about 30 seconds, he called the police again. "Hi, I just called a minute ago about some people stealing from my shed. Well, You don't have to worry about them anymore. I just shot them." And he hung up. Within 5 minutes, 6 police cars, a SWAT team, a helicopter, 2 fire trucks, a paramedic, and an ambulance arrived at George's house. They caught the burglars red-handed. One of the officers, looking confused, said, "I thought you said you shot them?" George smiled and said, "And I thought you said nobody was available."
Husband always insisted on making love in the dark. After 20 years, wife turns on the light, finds him holding a vibrator. She goes ballistic. "You impotent! How could you lie to me all these years?" Husband looks her straight in the eyes and calmly says, "I'll explain the toy, you explain the kids."